We're going to talk today about gerunds. Gerunds are made using what is sometimes called the verb ing form, otherwise known as the present participle. Words like running, eating, looking, sleeping, where we have the verb form plus the ing. But actually, the verb ing form is used for a number of different functions in English. Obviously, it can be used as a verb in one of the continuous forms. So he is running, we were eating pizza, I'm looking at you, or the baby has been sleeping. It can also be used as an adjective, sometimes what is called a participle adjective. For example, the running man is wearing shoes. Running describes man. Or the sleeping baby is on the bed. Sleeping describes baby. So neither of those are gerunds. A gerund is when the verb ing form is used as a noun. Gerunds can function just like nouns as subjects. So for example, running is healthy. Smoking is bad for you. Reading can help you learn. You can see here, running is healthy. We can substitute another noun or noun phrase for the subject in the same sentence. Broccoli is healthy. So just like broccoli is a noun in this sentence, running can function as the noun. Smoking is bad for you. We can replace this with the noun chocolate is bad for you. Reading can help you learn, or the teacher can help you learn. So the gerunds function just like a noun would in these sentences. Now, not only can they be used as subjects, they can also be used as predicate nouns. For example, my favorite activity is reading. They can be used as direct objects. My teacher suggested reading. Or more police will reduce stealing. Gerunds can be used as indirect objects. He taught me reading, or I spent my life teaching. And gerunds can also be used as objects of preposition. So as you know, a prepositional phrase consists of a preposition plus a noun or a noun phrase. And when a verb occupies that spot as the object of a preposition, it has to be put into a gerund form. So I've thought about writing a novel. I ate dinner after studying. I got in trouble for running inside. About, after, for are prepositions, and then the gerund would be the object of those prepositions. Another example, I'm not used to drinking coffee. Now, this is a mistake students often make because they associate to with the infinitive marker. To drink. I'm not used to drink coffee would be a mistake. Because remember, to can be in the infinitive marker, but to can sometimes also be a preposition. So don't get those mixed up. And when to is working as a preposition, then you would need the gerund after that. Now, I've said that gerunds are nouns. Sorry, I've said that gerunds are verbs that act as nouns, but they're not exactly the same as nouns. There are a few differences, and one of them is that gerunds can have objects. In fact, we just saw a couple of those in the previous examples. I've thought about writing a novel. So writing is the gerund, and a novel is the object of the gerund. Or I'm not used to drinking coffee. Again, drinking is the gerund, coffee is the object. But not only with objects of preposition, in any of the places a gerund occupies. For example, drinking alcohol is bad for you. So drinking is a gerund, alcohol is the object of the gerund, and that whole phrase drinking alcohol functions as the subject of the sentence. So drinking alcohol together is the gerund phrase, which is the subject. Or reading books will help you learn. Or as a direct object, I hate cleaning the kitchen. Couple other things to keep in mind with gerunds. Gerunds don't have tenses. The tense is inflected on the main verb in the sentence. For example, I hate cleaning, I hated cleaning, I will hate cleaning, etc. Gerunds have no tense, but they can take the perfect aspect. So let's look at an example of the present perfect. I have written a letter. Now, in grammar, we don't consider the perfect to be a tense. We consider it to be an aspect. So here's the perfect aspect in the present tense. We can put this as a gerund. She's angry at me for having written that letter. So this is the perfect aspect as a gerund, the object of the preposition. And you can see that it's the have that takes the ing form here. So a gerund in the perfect aspect is having plus the past participle, plus the verb 3. Gerunds can also be gerunds can also have passive forms. So I hold the cat, an active sentence, change it to the passive. The cat is held by me. And then as a gerund, the cat likes being held. So this is a gerund with a passive meaning. The cat likes being held by me, for example. Gerunds can also have negative forms. Now, quite often the negative is reflected on the main verb. For example, I like waking up early in the morning versus I don't like waking up early in the morning. The negative here is on the main verb. But occasionally it might be necessary to put the negative on the gerund. I like not having to wake up early in the morning. Not having here meaning no obligation. Uh, you you can wake up early in the morning if you want to, but you don't have to. And whenever the gerund is negative, it's used with a not plus the gerund, so not having. We can also use no plus a gerund to say that something is not allowed. For example, no smoking. Quite often you will just see these two words, for example, on a sign, no smoking, no parking, no eating. It can also be in a sentence. Sorry, this is in a sentence. No parking on the driveway. This is a phrase, but it could be on a sentence here. There's no drinking in the park. And when it's in a sentence, it's quite often used with there is or theirs. Gerunds can also have determiners. So we can say the fighting has gotten worse and worse. So this is fighting a gerund operating as a noun, and the article the is before it. In this case, it would be some fighting that both the speaker and the listener know about. So we can use a definite article. So just as nouns have definite articles, the gerund can have the definite article. It can also use possessive pronouns as determiners. Your drinking has become a problem. Or it can use a possessive noun as a determiner. John's writing is taking up a lot of his time. A couple things to note though. We can use a possessive pronoun as a determiner, but we can't use a subject pronoun. So your drinking has become a problem is okay, but you drinking has become a problem is not okay. Gerunds can have objects, but they don't have subjects. Actually, sorry, there's one exception to this. There are certain verbs that can have an object plus a gerund, and that object will function as the object of the verb, but also as the subject of the gerund. For example, I can't imagine him finishing the book. Now notice that him here is in the object case. It's not he finishing, it's him, because it's after imagine. But this is at the same time being used as the subject of the gerund. Sorry to keep you waiting. Now you is, as you know, the you subject form and the you object form is the same, but this is you, the object pronoun. Or I saw him getting out of the truck. For example, there are some other examples where we can use a verb and then an object and then a gerund. The other thing about using a determiner is when we use a determiner, or at least when we use the definite article the gerund can't have an object. So ordinarily, as we said before, gerunds can have objects. So selling drugs is illegal. This is a perfectly good English sentence. But if we add then we can't say the selling drugs. We need to say the selling of drugs is illegal. So we would join the object to the gerund with an of here because we have the. We can't say the selling drugs is illegal. You'd have to either say selling drugs is legal or the selling of drugs is illegal. Gerunds are also used after certain verbs. Here are some examples. Now, as you may know, there are some verbs which are followed by a gerund, and there are some verbs that are followed by an infinitive, and there are some verbs that can be followed by both. For example, hope is followed by an infinitive. I hope to see you again. Whereas a word like remember is followed by a gerund. I remember eating the pizza. And some words can be followed by both, like I like eating or I like to eat. Discussing which words are followed by gerunds and which words are followed by infinitives and which words are followed by both, which verbs are followed by gerunds, which verbs are followed by infinitives, and which verbs are followed by both is going to have to be a separate subject for a different video. Perhaps someday in the future we'll do a video on the different words for gerunds and for infinitives. For today, though, we're just going to keep focused on gerunds. And these are a number of verbs that can be followed by gerunds. It's not a complete list, but it's some of the more common. So admit, he admitted breaking the window. Avoid, I've avoided doing my homework. Begin, I've begun exercising every day. Consider, please consider changing your socks. Continue, I'm going to continue reading every day. Deny, he denied stealing my phone. Enjoy, I enjoy fishing. Finish, I'm going to finish reading the book. Give up. Sorry, that's one verb phrase here, give up. So for example, I gave up smoking. Or go on. I'm going to go on reading. Hate. I hate exercising. Keep. I'm going to keep studying every day. Imagine. I can imagine surfing on the beach. Like. I like eating pizza. Love. I love snowboarding. Mind. Mind here quite often used in the sense of don't mind. So I hope you don't mind my smoking. Miss, I miss meeting my friends. Postpone, I'm going to postpone exercising. Put off, with a similar meaning to postpone. I put off starting the project. Start, I've started reading a new book. Stop, I've stopped talking to my friends. Suggest, I suggest going to the movies. Recommend, I recommend exercising every day. Remember, I remember going to the park when I was young. Risk, uh, I'm going to risk losing my friend. So these are all words that can be used with gerunds. One thing to keep in mind, though, for both begin and start, if begin and start are being used in a continuous form with the verb ing, then they are not usually followed by gerunds. They'd be followed by infinitives. For example, I can say, I've begun a new book, but I can't. Sorry, I can say I've I began reading a new book. I began reading a new book, but I can't say I'm beginning reading a new book. It sounds a little strange there with the two ings next to each other. So I'd use the infinitive in that case. I'm beginning to read a new book. Same with start. I'm starting to exercise every day. I wouldn't say I'm starting exercising every day. So when begin and start are in the ing form, then they would be followed by the infinitive. Otherwise, they could be followed by either the gerund or the infinitive.